Hi, loving soul. Are you wondering where to even begin when it comes to working out where on earth to go to meet someone new? Maybe it feels like meeting someone who is worth your time and energy is almost impossible, especially at somewhere like a nightclub or a bar. And maybe you're like me, and growing up, if you didn't go out on a Friday and Saturday night, you got massive FOMO. But nowadays, your idea of an ideal night out looks more like delicious food with great company, beautiful friends, and maybe complemented by the odd glass of delicious wine, but certainly not fueled by it anymore. And so where on earth do you begin when it comes to going out to meet someone? You might have turned to online dating or apps, which might have felt fun in the beginning, but now it might feel a bit like a soul-sucking chore, and it's just full of weirdos and liars left. But listen, I promise you there's a better way. There's a paradigm shift that's missing here that I'm going to introduce you today. Are you ready to learn more about how you can use the powerful nature of our reality to meet someone new in a more aligned, joy-filled way? Well, here are exactly the steps I would follow if I was single right now. Let's get stuck in. Not sure where to even begin when it comes to finding a healthy, loving partner? Maybe a part of you even thinks it's easier to be single and avoid the anxiety and stress altogether. But there's another part that still dreams of a fulfilling relationship. Well, if you're done with spending your precious time and energy on partners who bring you heartbreak, anxiety, and stress, and you want a way out of the constant wondering why you aren't meeting the right partner, you are in the right place. Hi, I'm Remy, clinical hypnotherapist, EFT facilitator, NLP master practitioner, and your dedicated love upgrade coach. I went from being a codependent, anxious serial dater and marrier of the wrong men to being happily married with the warm, loving family I could only have dreamt of. I'm here to give you the blueprint you've been missing to overturn your blocks and limiting beliefs, connect with your inner wisdom, and understand the nature of our energetic reality, all so you can confidently and safely attract the healthy, loving relationship you've always wanted and truly deserve. It's time to upgrade your subconscious and start some real life magic happening. This is your time to put beautiful you first for a change. So tell the outside world it can wait. Hush those notifications and let's get to it. Okay, so if I was single today, which I'm not, I've been happily married, by the way, it will be 10 years in February, and we met 14 years ago. And all the steps I'm going to tell you today are exactly the way that I manifested my husband into my life. I don't love the word manifested. I think it's been bandied about way too much. Whatever you want to call it, attracted, manifested, created, co-created with the universe, all of it's true. This is exactly the steps that I've taken to not only manifest my husband into my life, but also every other thing that I consciously drew to me. It's included houses, holidays, believe it or not, children, friends, jobs, everything that I have parking spaces. Anyone who knows me knows that I have parking angels. And I really believe that if you believe you can have something and you can allow yourself to swim in the emotion of how you think it will feel when you have it, that is exactly how you bring it into you. So these are the steps that I will take to get there. And I just also want to say before I start that all these steps are alongside a few little housekeeping things first. So I would absolutely, to bring in a loving relationship, make sure first that I had resolved past relationships. And by that, I mean that I wasn't holding on to any negative feelings about my ex or myself that I might have developed from those relationships, and not make anything about the relationship mean something about me. So letting go of any of that. And then the way you let go of it, no sort of spiritual bypassing or anything like that. You go and you have a look and re-study what it was that made you feel that way in the relationship. And it will be something that your partner did. And you would have taken whatever your partner did and made it mean something about you rather than see the truth of what it was, which is something about them. They were reflecting something about themselves onto you. And for whatever reason, you are receptive to receiving it and taking it on board and putting up with it. And once I'd resolved my past relationships, I would make sure that I know what I'm looking for. That is familiarizing myself with the 5 root factors, which are friendship, attraction, congruent values and beliefs, trust and respect, and being very aware of those factors in all the relationships that I'm going to bring into me in the future, and make sure that they all have every single one of those root factors healthily and securely in place. And if anything that my partner did against those root factors, if they acted in any sort of way that was against any of those root factors and damaged them in any way whatsoever, I would know that that was a red flag and something to pay attention to. And if I was making up an excuse for that red flag or trying to negate that red flag, that is something in and of itself to look at. Why am I doing that? What belief am I holding on to that is stopping me from acting on red flags and blocking me from the relationship I deserve? All right, and aside from that, I would make sure that I was fully across the dynamics of a healthy relationship. That is an interdependent relationship, not a codependent relationship. This was one of the biggest things for me. I didn't even realise how codependent I was. I didn't even know what the word meant, if I'm being honest. I thought it was something related to, alcohol. I can't speak. Related to alcoholics and, supporting people who are drug addicts and any sort of addiction. But it's actually not. It's any time we seek validation outside of ourselves. So we're getting something that we need from within and we're getting it from an external source, whether that's, usually it's feeling good enough or feeling lovable enough or validating ourselves and our self-worth or, proving to ourselves how lovable we are. And we get that from someone outside of ourselves and we rely on their supply of that sort of boosting up of our ego all the time, instead of just knowing inside how valuable we are and how lovable we are, and asking ourselves a completely different question, which is, do I like them? Are they serving me? Are they in alignment with my highest and best interests for myself? And then once I was fully aware of all those things, I would engage in these 3 steps I'm going to share with you now. So step number 1 is to prioritize feeling good. And that means just as you are right now in your current situation, for you to be living your life in alignment with your highest and best life, even though you haven't got the partner of your dreams just yet. You need to be living as if you have them right there, as if you're waking up next to them, as if they're living in your home, as if you are full of joy with love for them. And you need to be okay anyway. Not in a sort of nutty way. We're still talking about being normal, not pretending that they're there and making up a name for someone or anything like that. It's more about having the energetics of that person that you want to be in that relationship. So really feeling happy and joyful and grateful and full of love and energy, and like your life is complete. You're not looking for somebody else to complete you. That's where it all goes wrong. That's where all this codependency comes in. And because the only thing you end up attracting, if you're looking for somebody to complete you, as we've heard in so many 90s movies, another half or anything like that, if you're looking for somebody to complete you, you're going to find somebody, you're going to attract somebody in who needs to be needed. And that is where the problem is. That's where all these narcissists start coming into our lives, or people who really need a lot of supply of something from you. They need to feel worshipped, or they need you to cross your boundaries. They need themselves to be put first all the time, and you end up overgiving, right? Because you're trying to establish your value in the relationship to make sure that they don't leave you, right? But that is just all completely toxic and wrong. You need to be feeling complete and whole within yourself, dancing through life with joy. And then when you're in that space and you don't need somebody, that is when somebody you actually want will come into your life and want you right back. You don't need to search or try or push. You just need to allow. And that is really the mic drop, because when you get into that thinking space, you don't even need to go out to meet someone in a nightclub or a bar. You just know they're coming. All right, the second step is, and this sort of is in alignment with the first step, but it's following your desires, interests, joys, and curiosities. And this is really interesting because when you start listening to your inner voice and you really start following your true desires, so not desires based on fear and scarcity, but desires based on joy and curiosity and positive emotion inside you, not only does it make you feel really good and whole and complete, but also it allows the universe to lead you on this beautiful path of amazing synchronicities and gifts falling in your lap that you never ever could have anticipated, ever. But it's very important that you listen to your inner wisdom, because that literally is the way that the universe speaks to you. We're literally receiving divine guidance all the time. And I'm not a religious person, and I was very skeptical about all this as well. And then I realized my life wasn't working the other way. So I thought, you know what? Fuck it. In some level, I can feel inside that this is truth. And I'm just going to try living this way and believing this way, because it actually feels good to me to do that. And when I did, unbelievable things started happening. My whole life changed. I woke up to the reality that I absolutely hated my job. And it was so not me on so many levels. And then I realised that some of my friends weren't serving me either. I realised that some family members weren't serving me, and I needed to hold stronger boundaries. And then I realised that I really wanted to go travelling. And the only thing that was holding me back from that was fear. So lo and behold, a few months later, I manifested a trip to Thailand where I met my husband, and I had the time of my life, and it was incredible. And I wasn't trying and I wasn't pushing. I was just enjoying. It's just incredible. I never would have picked it that I would be living in Sydney. I think my exact words were to somebody who asked me on Thailand on that very trip, are you going to go to Australia next? Because I think that's what a lot of travellers do. They go to Thailand and then they end up in Australia because it's the furthest from the UK where I'm from. And I just said, no, I don't think I'll ever go to Australia. It's just like England, but just with palm trees. I don't think I'm going to bother. And then guess who's living here like a year later? And then step 3 is I'd have my eyes wide open to all the blessings and gifts that are falling on my lap. Be really consciously aware of all the amazing things happening to you. And I would be swimming in the wonder of how everything is always working out for me in the best possible way, like magic. Even if I can't quite see it in that moment, just live with this sort of excited expectation of what is yet to come, and know that it's going to be magical and wonderful. And I promise you, when you have this positive, optimistic mindset and see things through the eyes of love, it is incredible what happens for you. And this is because, as Wayne Dyer said, you get what you are, not what you want. So you need to be it to receive it, right? And our thoughts become things. So make the thoughts good, high vibe ones, because that's what we want more of in our life. And that is what we deserve to have in our life. So a recap of those steps are: number 1, prioritize feeling good as you are right now, feeling whole and complete. Number 2, following your desires, interests, joys, and curiosities, and listening, practicing that connection with your inner wisdom and that inner divineness inside of you. Number 3 is to have your eyes wide open to all the blessings and gifts that fall in your lap and be swimming in the wonder of it all, living your life in this constant, beautiful cycle of love and receiving and accepting and opening your arms like the feminine goddess that you are. Your highest and best self knows that it is safe and it is meant to receive wonderful things. From tiny things like compliments all the way up to magnificent things like the very love of your life. And when we live in this very feminine, receptive, beautiful, loving flow of life, and we are love, we are giving love, we are receiving love, we are living as love in the most natural, organic, beautiful way, in a way that I think if you really get in touch inside of you, it feels right. You know this is the way. Everything goes better. People respond better. Things just tend to go our way in a much more easier flow when we're living from this space of well-boundaried, loving awareness and kindness. This is how we attract more love back into our life. We live as love and we get love back. It's the most beautiful flow and cycle. Just as Rumi said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And that hits the nail on the head with all this. Love is there. Everything you want is right there. It's just waiting for you to be on the right energy to receive it. It's not about seeking or pushing or searching. It's about feeling it within yourself and living at the right vibration and the right energy so that you're a match for all of it. And when you believe that you are a match for it, and you get this sense that you are complete and whole and swimming in love and gratitude, living as the highest and best version of yourself and honouring your inner desires, that is when everything you want comes flowing to you with such ease and grace and joy and wonder and humour even. And that really is what makes life so special and rich. It's one of my favourite things about life is that I know that what's coming to me today is going to be filled with just such beautiful gifts on my lap, even if it's tiny things. Like actually just yesterday, I've been thinking that I really need to get some new silk scrunchies for my curly hair. And I ordered my favourite gel and leave-in conditioner, and it arrived yesterday, and I opened the box and there was a free gift in there, and it was a whole pack of silk scrunchies. And it's just little things like that that just fall on my lap every day that just make me smile. And I just like, thanks, angels. That is the most beautiful gift ever. You knew that I wanted it. So this is the wonderful nature of reality. And you know, once you start living this way, you really don't have to try and go out anywhere. You listen to your truth and let that guide you. You go and do what feels fun. Take that inspired action. Whether it's trying out a new hobby, buying a book, going to watch something in the cinema, going to see a friend, going to travel somewhere. Whatever breadcrumbs your inner wisdom is bringing to your conscious awareness and allowing you to think about, just go follow them. If I think back to all the ways I met my ex-boyfriends, no matter how they sort of all worked out, it was never from pushing. Some of them I met from out and about, going to bars and whatnot, but every time it was because I wanted to be there, not because I went somewhere and I felt like I had to be there. I was always in the energy of joy. So actually, one of my ex-partners I met through a dating website, and do you know what? He didn't even have a profile picture. It all just happened so easily, and he was just a joy to talk to, and it felt fun, internet dating. And we just struck up a conversation and then ended up meeting. And it wasn't like spending hours labouring away and messaging a million people and having all sorts of carefully curated photos on there of me or anything like that. It was just all very natural and organic, and it just, really fell on my lap. It turned out we had loads of friends in common and somehow had never actually met. And then we went on our first date and got on really well. Don't get me wrong, all the red flags that ended up finishing the relationship 4 years later were all present in that first date, as they always are, but that's another podcast episode. But still, the actual relationship itself brought many blessings to my life. And of course, my husband, I met on a holiday in Thailand that felt very aligned. And, it can happen in any way. It doesn't have to be from going out and about. A great story is one of my beautiful friends back in London, she was working somewhere for like over a decade and was good friends with her boss and knew his best friends who were all happily married. Also, she thought, because 10 years later, at just the right time for her, one of his friends got divorced. And now she is very happily married to him. She's got this beautiful family. They've had a son together. And even though she was at that place of work for 10 years and none of the people in the company had really changed, the universe had shifted in such a way that she was in this amazing place in her life where she had overcome limiting beliefs and sort of a negative mindset brought about from, incidents that happened in childhood. And she had worked through them all and got to this place where she was feeling complete and whole and happy with her life and had brought so much into her life that brought her so much joy. And then this wonderful man fell into her lap, who is everything that she wanted and more than she could have hoped for herself. And so it is. This is the beautiful nature of reality. Now, I will say that if you're struggling to feel good or you don't even know where to begin when it comes to connecting to yourself, to even know what brings you joy, or if you feel so down on yourself that you find it hard to believe that you will ever meet someone, please know that's okay. And it just means you have a bit of deeper work to do first. We can find the root of what's holding you back from your best and highest wishes from your life and release those blocks. It's literally what I specialise in doing for my clients, and it usually takes, believe it or not, no more than 4 to 6 sessions. You can book in at www.herloveupgrade.com/bookings, or you're welcome to get in touch with me on Instagram. My handle is @loveupgradecoach. I really look forward to hearing from you. Let me know if you have any questions about this episode or any other episode or anything going on with your love life. It's always so fantastic to hear from you and understand more about the wonderful women listening to this podcast. And if you know a friend that needs to hear the message in this podcast, give it a share. Let them know that this is available for them too. I hope this episode brings you closer to the love and life you're meant for. Until next time, lots of love and take care of beautiful you. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You should be so proud of this courageous, incredible journey you are on. And I'm so happy to be here supporting you to say goodbye to toxic relationships and claim the wonderful life and love you truly deserve. If you have a friend who you think needs to hear today's episode too, why not spread the love and share it with them? Sending you so much love in abundance. Until next time.